A bus filled with legislators and other state officials came from Sacramento on January 11th to get an in-person look at how recovery is going 5 years after the campfire. The trip was organized by the town of Paradise, Butte County, and Assemblyman James Gallagher to remind legislators that much has been done, but much remains to be done. Dan Efsef, director of the Paradise Recreation and Park District, was one of the speakers during a stop at Billy Park. He shared not only plans for future park development in Paradise, but also emphasized the importance of green space to a healthy community and how that green space can prove to be a valuable wildfire buffer.
Yeah, just give him a quick overview about how important Billy Park was a day of the fire. This was a kind of impromptu evacuation, a safer evacuation spot for a lot of the neighbors here. Part of that was the amount of tree work that we had done in here pre-fire. So we had reduced the fuels on the ground, ladder fuels had been lifted up, we have tended green grass. So I think from a neighbor standpoint, looking at a place that could be a safer place to wait out the fire, this pavilion here was a good choice. And there were about 80 to 100 people parked underneath this thing. Some lessons for us were that the building happened to be oriented in such a way to where it blocked the ember blizzard. So people were protected from the wind in here. They created a little bit more of a shelter or protection there because they were concerned about cars and lots. So I mentioned some of that. And quickly went into like some of the lessons, like how do we pepper the community with places like this that most of the time you're just enjoying a park and getting healthy. And then in other events, you may need it from an evacuation standpoint or a safer place to wait out certain things. So I think it gives a lot of flexibility, resiliency to the community.
The tour also looked at fire-safe council projects, downtown development, housing projects, street connectivity, evacuation routes, and examples of fire-safe building practices. Elected officials also took time for a press conference with assembled media members. The locals involved in organizing the tour believed it was valuable and will be beneficial for ongoing recovery efforts, many of which need state government support and funding.
From my perspective, I think the day went really well. I was really pleased with the attendance that we had. We had a great group of elected members of both the Senate and the Assembly. We had staff members and we had committee staff members. So it was a really good cross-section of our state legislature. So that was great. We talked about a lot of really important issues here. And I think that having them come and see what's going on in Paradise after the campfire is extremely important. It's one thing to hear about it and even see it on the news and learn about it, but to really experience it firsthand and meet the people who are affected and who are doing the work makes a huge difference in their decision making.
I think rural areas have been often underheard, and I think it's encouraging that they had such a good turnout today, and willing and ready to address some of the issues in rural California that have been ignored for a long time.